Um, so, as you're probably aware, Wargaming released a recent news article about fair play and game rigging, and I have issues with a section in that article. Um, Something that just sounds like bollocks. And we are going to go down to the section that says why we don't name and shame players. And it's the first paragraph we're going to concentrate on, which goes like this. We must actually, I'm gonna make a marker. The marker. There we go. Right. So it goes like this. We understand that some players feel that we should publicise the names of those caught cheating or rigging. Absolutely. But English is hard. But we strictly adhere to GDPR regulations. Now, if you don't know what that is the General Data Protection Regulations Act that came into force in May 2018. That every country has to abide by, and any other country that handles data of EU citizens. I'm not going to get into the specifics because GDPR is very complicated. I know because I'm having to battle with it right now. But so they strictly adhere to GDPR regulations and respect player privacy. Okay, sure, we'll go with it. Naming and shaming individuals is not only against our policy, but it also violates data protection laws. Does not, which protect everybody's personal information. A user's in-game name is not personal information because it cannot be personally identified unless you're using parts of your real name in your in-game name, which you should never be doing. Your username for any service should never contain any part of your real name. Just a general rule of thumb. Right, we can assure you though that all offenders face real and serious consequences even if their identities remain private. Well, how can we confirm this? This is the issue that everybody has. They say that they ban these users, but they do not give us any evidence to prove that they have banned these users. But I want to focus on the GDPR part of that statement because they're hiding behind legal crap. And I want to make it absolutely clear. Your in-game name, your nickname, your gamer tag, whatever you want to call it, it's not covered by GDPR unless it contains part of your real name, which I've already said that your username should never contain parts of your real name. You know, my tag doesn't. Well, it's got D, which is the first letter of my first name, but there's a lot of names with D, so it's, you know, it's fine. What was I saying? Yes, so people's names cannot be covered under people's in-game names cannot be covered under GDPR as long as it doesn't contain their real name. Now, how Wargaming could get around this, and it's bloody simple. Got two ways they can do this. Create a script that has a list of people's first names, common first names, and they just put the list of banned players through that list, and if it matches, then they get privatized and say that due to data protection laws, we can't. That covers their ass. The ones that are just contain random characters and numbers, Poppy fan, sure, you can release that. It's not personally identifiable. Or if it does contain people's real names, which again it shouldn't do, they could just star out the bit that has their real name. I already have a log of everybody's usernames that's stored securely. Yeah. I can already go through the list and determine whether the name that they've put up there, that even though they've starred out, it's a real name. Like when I was saying right at the beginning, I have to deal with my own GDPR. That's why. Because I have to follow this information. I have to follow this bullshit as well. Data protection is a pain in the ass, but it's so fucking needed. So, I've explained to you briefly what GDPR does. I explained to you there's why Wargaming have said I'm not going to release players' names, because they're putting it under this legal bollocks. Where do we go? Because obviously, the World of Tanks community need confirmation that these players have actually been banned and that these are actual accounts and they're not just inflating the numbers. Yeah. Well, I'm quite lucky to live in the UK, and we have a lot of as members of the public, we have a lot of tools and resources available to us. And there's one thing in the UK that we can use, known as the FOI, or basically to do an FOI request, or a Freedom of Information request, which you can do. Doesn't cost you anything. It's absolutely free, and you can do a Freedom of Information request to any company. And they don't have to give you that information, but you're more likely to get a direct response from the company. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I will be putting forward a Freedom of Information request to Wargaming, requesting these names, going through the official channels that is provided as being a member of the UK, or being a UK citizen, and we'll go from there, basically. And I'll let you know what happens. Like I said, they don't have to comply with this request, but you never know. This is more than this is more than just Joe Blogs sending a support ticket and going, I want this information. This would be coming from an official UK government body. So we're going to try that. And that's all I really want to say, really, on this. I don't want to get too drowned out talking about this. But the summary is Wargaming have made an announcement on why they don't name and shame users. They are using GDPR as an excuse. I think it's not valid. And I will be taking actions personally through a Freedom of Information request via the appropriate channels.